Hi, this is Terry Slattery. Thank you very much for joining me for a very brief discussion about 3 challenges that we're seeing sales leaders face as we approach end of month, end of quarter, end of year. Forgive me, this will be a little rough because I'm working mostly without any notes, but we'll get the point across. The challenges, as I said, come at the end of the month, end of the year, end of the quarter. And right now what we're seeing is they're asking for ridiculous payment terms. They're asking for price concessions. They're also asking for you to reopen a deal that you already had underway with them, and of course open up the price part and they can get lower prices. So let's talk about what your options are. Unfortunately, they've lost their focus and they're now focusing on price instead of on true total cost, which we've taught everybody we work with is the strongest place from which to run a complex sale. So you want to ask yourself this question: what's going to happen to whom if they don't buy from us, or if this thing gets delayed for another quarter or two? Because remember, if delay is free, you don't have a prospect. And so you want to understand who's going to feel the consequences of delay, or even of losing your differentiating value by buying from somebody who doesn't have it. Who's going to feel those consequences the most? And you want to invoke the agenda of that person. If you can't talk to them, of course, if you can talk to them, you can ask the same question, just modified a little bit. But I'm going to pretend right now that you're being harassed by somebody who's in procurement, vendor management, purchasing, supply chain, what have you, could even be IT. But the point is that maybe they're holding up your deal so they can get some concessions out of you. And what you want to ask this gatekeeper sounds like this. You remember, you've thought about what are going to be the most severe consequences. Whoever's going to feel them is going to suffer. And you want to put that into play in a question with this gatekeeper. And it'll sound like this: I realize you're under a lot of pressure to try to get some concessions and perhaps a better price. And it's unfortunate if the focus has shifted off of true total cost of a solution over time, which is what we've been talking about with the rest of the organization. And so if you'll recall, this was an initiative to increase revenue that we were working on. And now it sounds like you're willing to delay realization of that revenue for at least 1 or 2 quarters while we continue to have these discussions about getting a better price. So I'm curious, when you explained to the vice president of sales that she was going to have to be waiting to realize the revenue that was going to be created by the new initiative that we proposed, and when you explained to her that she was going to have to wait maybe 1, 2, or more quarters to harvest that revenue, what was her reaction? Remember, take the conversation to the consequences. In this case, unrealized or delayed revenue. It'll always trump the size of any little price concession they're trying to take out of you.